wheelie from Raul Fernandez, who wins, with his teammate Remy Gardner in second. Marco Bezzecchi takes third. Tony Arbolino, best result of his rookie career in Moto2. When the lights go out, we are underway in the French Grand Prix, and you can see immediately those on the right-hand side pull over to the dry part of the grid as they fire up through turn one. It's Marco Bezzecchi who leads them through, eyes closed as we go through the chicane for the very first time. It's going to be treacherous in here today. Bezzecchi leading, and you just want to see them all get through safely. There was a bit of barging in the middle of the field, but the front five seems to get through okay. In fact, the whole field are through okay as they go down to La Chapelle for the first time. Spots of rain on the camera, but it looks like we're going to be okay. Bezzecchi leading from Raul Fernandez. Aaron Canet just being passed by Joe Roberts for third place, but Bezzecchi making the best start, Michael, up to Museum.
Yeah, what a clean run for Bezzecchi through that first section. It all bunched up in the middle of the pack. Xavi Vierge had pulled a really clever move down the outside, and then kind of as he came across that direction change, he really bunched up in amongst there with Remy Gardner. Not
a great start for Sam Lowes. He's gone back to 12th. His teammate Augusto Fernandez meanwhile has held on to his 5th place. In fact, he's up to 4th now past Joe Roberts. Garage Ver can catch you out on lap 1, and when it looks like it's going to be a dry race, as it is drying on track, but the majority of the circuit dry, this could be crucial time that Marco Bezzecchi's taken out. A crasher in there. Aaron Canet goes down into the Shimano Burp S. I was worried about the wetness on the track from the bridge over the top. It wasn't quite there, I don't think, for Canet. He limps away, but Canet crashes out of third.
Yeah, the left side of that tyre still not fully up to temperature, not properly scrubbed in just yet. Crossing those wet patches under the bridge, and as he pipped in there, I think the rear just let go. I need to see it again, but unfortunate for Aaron Canet. He's had such good pace this weekend.
Sam Lowes is in behind Remy Gardner, behind the championship leader. 1 and 2 in the championship, 9th and 10th in this race. It's Bezzecchi who leads, fresh from his first podium of 2021. There you can just see Gardner go through. There he is, number 87 in 9th place, ahead of Sam Lowes, heading up to the chicane for the second time. Sunshine now out at Le Mans, and this will be manna to these boys, because they really didn't want to have tricky conditions as they had here 1 year ago, and more rain. Still, you can see damp areas around the track, Michael. It's good to see from that helicopter shot.
Yeah, you can see they're still having to cross those damp patches. That's why it was quite important for Sam Lowes to be cautious in that opening lap. So yes, he gave away a few positions. He's actually still in his qualifying spot of 10th, but at the moment he's got his championship rival, or his main contender, Remy Gardner, the man who's 3 points ahead of him, just there. He's shadowing him right now, so that's the safest option at this stage in the race. The track will get better lap on lap.
If it were to stay like this, Raul Fernandez would take over the championship lead. Marco Bezzecchi would be right in there too. They are, of course, 3rd and 4th in the championship as things stand. There's Xavi Vierge, 97, as we zoom in on Sam Lowes on the number 22. Look at the wet line across underneath that Parts Europe bridge over the top into the Shimano Burp S. There's a couple of places around the track, the Dunlop Bridge in particular, where you can get a curtain of water coming across the track.
Yeah, unfortunately, where you have those bridges on the entry to the chicane at the Shimano Buffesses and also under the Dunlop Bridge, it takes a little bit longer. The sun doesn't get at those patches of tarmac, and it takes such a long time for those to dry.
Augusto Fernandez was down for a moment. I saw the Mark VDS bike. We were on board actually with Lowes as he went through on Remy Gardner. So Lowes up into 8th position now, with Gardner dropping to 9th, and his teammate Augusto Fernandez goes out at the blue S's. Disaster for Augusto.
And the track's coming. Sam Lowes set a 39.1 on that lap, so fastest man on track. So the track, these Moto2 machines can't do consistent 37s, 38s when the track's fully up top, work in order, when you can use all the curbs and don't worry about those damp patches.
Fastest rider in dry conditions this weekend, Sam Lowes from Raul Fernandez, and in fact they were quite comfortably quicker from the likes of Augusto Fernandez and Remy Gardner, so they're the two to keep an eye on here in the dry conditions, although Marco Bezzecchi has been there or thereabouts throughout the entire weekend. And that's Mansi's gone down. Mansi, who was fast in the warm-up, second quickest in the wet conditions. Unfortunately, the Pons rider is down at Museum.
He was pushing early up to 11th place, looked quite good on the bike, and I was trying to make a move up the inside of Tony Arbolino. Has to squeeze too much front brake to avoid making contact with the rear, and down he goes.
Tony's lucky there, isn't he? That could have been them both out of the race, but Arbolino lives to fight another day. Mansi is out of the French Grand Prix. So, Marco Bezzecchi leading, but he hasn't been able to churn out a lead as we thought he might. early on in this race. Raul Fernandez has kept good tabs on him, with Joe Roberts close in behind. Hector Garzo's had a fantastic start, was 8th on the grid. They can see the number 40 bike for the Pons team. This is where Lowe's made the move on Gardner on the previous lap, not this time on Xavi Vierge.
Lowe's just being shadowed by Remy, so Remy will let Lowe's do the work through the field. He's got to make some moves here. Xavi Vierge's pushing hard at the moment, so Xavi will be trying to make that move on the MV Agusta of Aaron Balda very, very soon.
If things stay the same as they are for the end of this race, they're not going to, I'll tell you that now. Raul Fernandez would be leading the championship on 83 points from Bez, 2 behind, with Gardner and Lowe's still within very close touching distance. But there's a long, long way to go in this French Grand Prix. 25 laps of this circuit, that's 65 miles. Alonso Lopez is another crasher, only joined the party yesterday as a replacement for Yari Montella, so not had too much time, probably not had too much time in the dry. And Alonso, who's riding well actually in the European Moto2 Championship, now is out of the race. At the front, Bezzecchi from Fernandez, from Roberts. Roberts, the fastest rider on circuit at the moment, closing right in on the back of Fernandez. That's some lows down at Garage Vert, and it's with Xavi Vierge. Was that a move from one of them on the other? Who else has gone down? That's Baldassari in the gravel there. But that's disastrous for Lowe's. In his championship challenge, he has gone down at Garage Vert. We'll have to have another look at it.
6th, 7th and 8th, all in the gravel there, so unless there's something going on, maybe someone's tried to pull an overtake and brought everyone along with them as Joe Roberts makes the move up.
Seeing how well that his team are going, they're leading in the Moto3 World Championship with Pedro Acosta, who again has been incredible today. They're 1 and 2 now in the Moto2 World Championship. He manages Jack Miller, who's just won the Spanish Grand Prix in MotoGP. It's a good time to be part of the IO clan.
Yeah, not bad. Aki, he's a shrewd operator, isn't he, in terms of how he picks his riders and how he manages that team. It always looks smart, well prepared, a lot of good staff in there and quality riders this season.
And what about Raul Fernandez, lining up to take his 2nd victory of the season here? They are talking about him in MotoGP, and these kind of performances, when you're winning in your rookie year, you don't need to spend too long here, especially with his size. You know, your likes of your Joan Mears, your Maverick Vinales, they spent a year in this class and then said, look, I am moving on. I don't need to spend too much longer in here. I've done my apprenticeship. Now, the interesting thing for me, as we look at the battle further back, is Fernandez is managed by Heinz Ginnegardner.
Yeah, that's
a big Red Bull KTM man, former motocross champion.
A good person to be managed by for Raul Fernandez. Obviously, deep ties with KTM, a big link with Red Bull, and yeah, bright future ahead for Raul.
Digi's back up to 7th, Michael. He's going to be attacked here by Ai Ogura, perhaps. You don't want to get too much on the inside. Look at the water still standing there. But Digi has made an impressive comeback without the long lap penalties. He'd have been in the podium shout.
Yeah, definitely. Digi's got a bit of work to do to get onto that Marcel Schroeder's rear wheel, but he wasn't getting it easy there. Ai Ogura was fighting hard. Ai's definitely a little samurai, a scrapper, isn't he? He doesn't give in easy, and yeah, fighting hard there, but had to think the better of it as he went over those damp patches into the Shimano Booth S.
Last lap time for Raul Fernandez. Is he on course to take his 2nd victory in Moto2 in just his 5th race? Seriously impressive stuff as he heads up to Museum Corner. When he comes out of here, there'll be just 7 corners for him to go. This 2.6 mile Bugatti layout at Le Mans. This is one of the most tricky parts now. We've seen his front tyre protesting throughout into Garage Vert. And it looks like he was safely through on this occasion. No last lap heroics from Remy Gardner, but a brilliant ride from him from 7th on the grid to take a 4th podium of the year, his 3rd, 2nd place, still to take victory, but he'll be leading the World Championship when we leave Le Mans to head to Mugello and Barcelona, back-to-back races next on the calendar. There's Raul's little brother Adrian, who's had a decent ride in Moto3 earlier on today, as Raul comes through the blue S's, through the left-hand part, and just the double apex right of the Recordamol to go. The gap has closed, but not by enough for Remy Gardner. Here comes Raul Fernandez through the double apex right-hander. He has time to look behind him to see his teammate Remy Gardner, and a beautiful stand-up wheelie from Raul Fernandez, who wins with his teammate Remy Gardner in 2nd. Marco Bezzecchi takes 3rd. Tony Arbolino, best result of his rookie career in Moto2. He's in 4th place.